We are live on Facebook now. Yay. So welcome everybody. This is what happens every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We'll just say Central Time because we're getting ready to go into daylight savings here in the next couple of days. So Central Time. And it's the Theta Healing Power Hour. And I am Brenda B. Bailey, the income ceiling shatterer. I'm also a Theta Healing master and instructor, so I teach the technique. So what it's going to look like today is, because I always say, I know good people. I know influencers, I know influential people, I know people in the know. So you always want to be able to catch these because you're going to get some great information from them. But then we also just look at like what's going to prevent you from being able to fully incorporate it, grasp, and understand like what they're saying. And so we just do a little Theta Healing work. And my featured guest always gets to cue you for saying yes. So there's your big job after giving us great information, Caterina. And then of course, we're going to find out how else we can connect with Caterina. So once again, Theta Healing, just a reminder, it goes beyond the brain, the conscious and subconscious mind. We make changes on a cellular level that make it as if it's always been. So I've been doing this for 14 years. And again, I love to get information from people who are in the know, because it kind of helps bring our stuff up and helps us know like what we need to shift. So let me introduce my amazing featured guest this week, who is Caterina Rando. She's a best-selling author, podcaster, and women's business mentor who passionately serves women on a mission. So she shows women how to be loud and proud about the value that they bring in order to serve more people and make their business thrive. So her books include Learn to Think Differently, released in over 13 countries in several languages, A Woman's Guide to Starting a Giving Circle, and her latest book, The ABCs of Public Speaking, which quickly hit #1 in 4 Amazon bestseller categories. She also is the founder of the Thriving Women in Business Center in San Francisco. So then I just have to take a breath, right? Because I told you, you'd be impressed. Welcome, Caterina.
Brenda, so happy to be with you.
Caterina and I have known each other for years, and because of the pandemic, we've reconnected, which I love. And she offers all sorts of really great information and great reminders. So, and her Facebook group is also lovely as well. And she attracts really great people in her tribe. So
thank you, Brenda.
I'm a fan.
I think so.
So Caterina, tell us, how do business owners affordably build influence?
Well, before we talk about how to do it, let me first say what influence is. It's the ability to sway, alter, shift people's beliefs, their thoughts even, and their actions. And that's a pretty exciting thing, because what we want to do is share with them that we're the solution for what challenges they have. And we build influence by, of course, speaking. But I like to share the influence equation, Brenda, if I could, which is visibility plus value plus consistency equals influence. And this is important because, sometimes with visibility, we think, hey, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, Brenda, you got this awesome thing every week. And sometimes we get Insta results, right? Someone emails us, bing, bing, I love your thing, and we get an Insta client, and that's always feels good, right? But it's not all Insta. And what I want everyone to know is that your visibility counts, because in psychology, there's something called the law of familiarity. And what that says is the more I see your posts, the more I see your Facebook Live, the more I see your name in my email box. Even the emails count for visibility, even if they don't get opened. The more people know you, like you. And the amazing thing is that they trust you, even when they haven't met you, because you've been consistently visible. And my favorite way of building influence, Brenda, is when you show up in other people's conversations and they're raving about you. That's always good. So that's the visibility, but the value I like to shine the spotlight on, because we think of our value like our expertise, right? Our strategy, our super tip, our our many years of education, but it's also not just that stuff. It's what I call our heart skills, and that your heart skills help you build influence too. And especially for women, a lot of them don't realize how much social capital they have. Social capital is more like when it's not business influence, it's just people like you because of your kindness, your graciousness, your being a good listener, demonstrating your big heart, which you're so good at. So all of these things are the value that goes along with the visibility. And then when we do that consistently, that's the influence equation. And my favorite kind of visibility, my favorite kind of visibility,
Being seen,
Brenda,
yes.
is speaking. And I get to be with you right now. We're speaking. Zoom stuff counts, It's now with COVID lifestyle, it's very important for everybody to recognize you don't even have to leave your house to give a speech, and you can have much greater impact. And Brenda, if I could just say one more thing about speaking, because a lot of people think of speaking like Tony Robbins, and of course he is an icon of speaking, but you don't have to be like that. You just have to be yourself, because what people care about is they care about what's in it for me. How could you help me? And as long as you've got some value to bring and you can convey that value, that's building influence. And that's what people want when they come and be with you. So I want to encourage everyone to embrace the Zoom speaking opportunities.
And I think that's so valid. This is the thing. And what I find just so shocking in some ways is how people are not attending their group's virtual networking events, right?
Right,
Like all of a sudden they're just like, oh, well, there's Zoom until they're physically attended. I'm not going. And I'm like, you're so missing the
right,
boat.
right. And not only going to your regular groups, Brenda, but there's a lifetime supply of opportunities for you to go network with ladies or people all over the country. And also, bing, 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 I like to say bing, bing, bing. It's also an opportunity for you to take your speaking on the road without leaving your house. Go any groups that you're affiliated with. What are their chapters around the planet that you could go speak virtually, or at least visit virtually, right? And that, and Brenda, I'm going to tell you, because I love having a community that is in my region. I live in San Francisco, and I have my center in San Francisco where I used to do workshops. We've been dark since March. But here's the thing. I'm thinking, okay, well, I really want to focus on this region because, we have the center and get together. Well, what I'm finding is that was limiting belief on my part, because now I get to go speak in, I've spoken in Minnesota and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and New Mexico and Arizona and all these states that I haven't been to ever or in a long time, and meeting some new ladies and getting some new clients, and getting to do why we're in business, which is to be of service and getting to serve more people. So I agree with what you said about, jump on the networking. Also, I want to say jump on the speaking, because there is a lifetime supply of people to serve, but they're not all in your neighborhood.
Absolutely. And one of the, as you've said, the pros of the quarantine, of the pandemic, is it's actually allowing a lot of us, if you're willing, to spread your reach, just like what Caterina is talking about, but not just nationally, but internationally.
Right. I have a new client in Holland. She's fabulous. I love her. We talk a little too late at night on Facebook sometimes. Hey, it's all good. There really are, and I will say, Brenda, my experience is people around the world are hungrier for outstanding support, and they are very excited when they connect with you. So yes, you can do it anywhere. And the thing is, I really been telling my clients, and when I'm talking, it's really a gold rush. Okay. It's a gold rush if you are willing to embrace Zoom, and if you're happy to embrace Zoom. It's a gold rush if you're wanting to go meet new people everywhere, which you can do again via Zoom. And the other thing is that when our regular lifestyle begins to resume, everybody now is Zoom savvy. And that's why I want to make sure everyone is having their own Zoom workshops every month that they're inviting people to, so that they always have something to invite people to, and that people can more easily connect with them, with you, with us, and we can build more influence with ease also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Caterina knows these things. I mean, this is the thing. I met Caterina at an event years ago where she was a speaker.
Right. That's right. Many years ago. It's probably 15, 20 years ago, my friend. Long time. Yeah.
Quite that long. I think it's only been like 10, but that's the
No,
thing.
my friend, it has been more than that, but that's okay.
But we were much younger then. Anyway,
Yes.
it's that thing where you just kind of go, oh, wow, like this is what these opportunities, and not only that, but also attending events. Like I was
Yes.
telling Katerina, like I attended one of her events. Like I hadn't seen any of her events. I'm not in the San Francisco area as much as I used to be, right? I'm in Texas. So it was like to be able to attend one of her events and also connect with some of the people that were there that actually had contacted me, which I thought was great, and has ended up being like some great relationships. So it's you have to take the next step, right? It's like, okay, I've got to be able to follow up. I've got to have my systems in place. I've got to be able to do all that. So is there anything else that you want to add about business owners using public speaking?
My friend, I could talk all day about it. Sure. Well, what I'll say is that whatever you're talking about, the thing is that we're all super smart. We can talk about 25 different things. Okay. Like, I did a Facebook Live last night on client appreciation. Guess what? I don't have any products or programs or courses on client appreciation. It's very important that your workshop matches what you offer. Okay. Yes, you have wisdom and insight on many things, and your free thing that you're going to do via Zoom, which I recommend 1 hour at least once a month, ideally twice. You could even do 3 times. From that, you're going to invite them to take the next step with you, which could be to come to a workshop. It could be to have a one-on-one consultation, whatever the next step is. But make sure the topic that you're talking about matches what they're going to do. So for example, I'm not going to give a talk on public speaking and then invite them to the sales class, or give my selling with authenticity workshop and invite them to come to the speaking class. It's got to match. And that is very fundamental. And then the other thing to remember is that the fortune is in the follow-up. Okay. So, again, sometimes people get depresso or disappointed that, oh, I did it and nothing happened. Well, it's your job to go get some clients. It's really not the client's job to come to you. Sometimes they do us a favor and they say, hey, I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm able, sign me up. But that's only, 3 to 5% of the time. The fortune is in the follow-up, and do make sure that you have, oh, here's the super tip. When you schedule your thing, schedule the follow-up at the same time, because sometimes you schedule your thing and then your calendar gets full, and then it's like a week later before you're doing your follow-up. The further away it gets from your thing, it's just like that great meal you had last night. You remember it this morning, but tomorrow or the next day, it's not as amazing as it was.
Yeah, you've eaten something else since then.
Exactly, right. So let's get the time scheduled for follow-up at the same time you schedule your thing.
She said there's a tip. When she goes like that, guys, pay attention. So what if somebody's not comfortable with speaking, Caterina?
Oh, great question, Brenda. Great question. Yeah, because sometimes they say, oh, well, that, you seem comfortable. That's good for you. Here's my strategy for the person that does not feel like they're amazing at speaking. Okay, here's the first thing. You act when you're willing. You don't wait until you're ready. Okay, let's be very clear. You act when you're willing. And if you are willing, all you have to do is you make a list of 10 frequently asked questions on whatever the topic is. Let's say someone is a health coach. They're going to do a topic, staying healthy during the pandemic. Okay, great. And then they think, because they get asked questions all the time. What's keto? How much water should I be drinking? How much protein should I be eating? What are the frequently asked questions? And then you go to your 1 hour thing. Always have everyone in the room, unless it's a huge amount of people, but under 25 people, have everybody introduce themselves. But you've got to facilitate this so it goes very fast. We want everybody's voice in the room because that helps who's there and it makes them feel more present. Okay. And then if they have any questions, you start with those, and then you go to your 10 frequently asked questions, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And then at the end, you make your invitation. That's it. It doesn't have to be speechy. Okay. Very important for everybody to know. Because remember, nobody's thinking that they're coming to hear a motivational speaker. They're coming to get your value. That's what they want. All you have to do is be willing and get started. Now, I will promise everybody, your first one is not going to be your best one, but you got to get through it. And that doesn't mean it's still not going to be awesome and bringing massive value. And it still doesn't mean you can't get clients and build influence. The more you do it, the better you get. And then pretty soon it's going to be easy. The idea is to get started. And by the way, let's forget about this idea of, I'm not good at public speaking. Well, none of us were good when we were 6 years old or 5 years old or 7 years old when we had our first probably public speaking trauma that we don't even remember, okay? Where the teacher says, come in front of the class. That's depresso, okay? But you know what? Today, you're a different person. You're more confident. I was in a meeting yesterday. The lady was so bright. She's got the biggest smile on the Zoom. And I'm thinking, wow, that lady's charismatic and she has presence. And then her question is, what if you don't like public speaking? Sometimes we have this perception of ourselves for how we used to be. That is not the truth anymore. And prove it to yourself. Schedule your Zoom, do it. Because it's not about speaking. It's about building influence, connecting with people, and getting clients.
Drop the mic. I don't know if there's anything else to add. So I'm just saying, but no, I mean, okay, so I'm just going to say this, right? This is the information that you get from Caterina all day long. She gives good information.
Thank you, Brenda. I got a lifetime supply, my friend. Totally.
And because she's been where you've been, I think the deal is, yes, like, go into the free things, vet the person, understand who they are. I mean, I can't, because that's how they are, like when you meet them for an hour and then move into like what they do for 3 hours, like as you're checking them out, you really have to trust, like, how do they feel to you? What's coming off? Because I can promise you the deal is, and not that it was her strategic, maybe it could have just been her intuition, right? With Caterina, but talking about customer appreciation, well, I want to work with somebody who's aware of customer appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Because I want them to appreciate me as a client.
Right.
That's what I use.
Well, yeah, and Brenda, that's because you're good at appreciating your clients. And really, and I'm just going to sidebar here and say, anybody that we work with, and this is where a lot of people make a mistake, especially early in their business. We say, oh, somebody's successful. We say, okay, let me work with that person. That's not, yeah, your mentor has to be successful, but the criteria is not, are they successful? Are they successful having the same values as you? Okay. We want to make sure that our mentors have the same values as us, because we all do our business based on our values. Our values inform every decision that we make in our business. And as I stand here, talk to you now, many years, I remember when my first business coach, she said things to me that, you know, oh, you got to do it this way. Like, you know, hey, if they miss an appointment, you know, don't cancel within 24 hours, you know, you have to charge them. And well, I never did it back then because it didn't feel right. And now I'm here and I'm like, you know, I don't have to do it that way just because somebody told me, right? Because my value is, you know, be accommodating to my clients. Now, of course, I don't want nobody is going to take advantage of it, but you know what? If somebody can't say, hey, Caterina, I'm sorry, gotta, you know, and especially these days, I got to take my kid to the dentist, whatever it is. You know what? I got no shortage of stuff to do. I don't care if we reschedule. I'm usually bing, bing, bing. I get to get this thing done that I wasn't getting done, right? So just because somebody told you got to do it some way, well, they were telling you based on their values. And when we pick mentors that have the same values as us, then what they teach us usually resonates with us and it works for us. But you know, Brenda, because you've heard it too. People say, well, I took this thing and it didn't really feel right. And I wasted all this money. Yeah, mama, because you picked up somebody to mentor you who you were just looking at their success. You were not looking at the values by which they run their business and their life. So that's really what I want everybody to embrace. Never pick a mentor who you don't feel has the same values as you.
Right. Exactly. I think it's one of the saddest things to me is like, I have to help people like forgive themselves and
Right.
all the poor choices that they made
Right.
on what they thought they were supposed to be doing instead of really knowing like
Right.
who it was that they wanted. Right.
Right.
And then just,
Right.
like again, like you're giving them money. So you don't have to just like pick the first person who comes around. You want to
Right.
shop around like you would for a piece of furniture, a car. You want to make sure like what's important. I know Katerina's probably the same as I do. I work with somebody new every year. And
That's
it's usually
awesome.
like what I'm focusing on. What
That's
am I focusing on to help me to, and sometimes it's just things that I needed to be reminded on type deal, but
Mhm.
also make me stretch, support me in stretching,
Right.
support me in stepping out of my comfort zone.
Right.
Right. So if you feel like that you want to go screaming to the hills because you heard somebody talking about speaking, hang on, we're going to do a little work. But also, then maybe you ought to, like, because I always say there are things that we fear that we're like making up. And then
Right.
there are things that we're fearing because we need to step into them. And
Oh, yeah. Well, and Brenda, that's why I say don't wait till you're ready, act when you're willing. And part of our willingness is our willingness to be uncomfortable and our willingness to take risks because that's where all the excitement is. The excitement in your business is not doing what you've been doing for 25 years. It's the next thing. That's where the super excitement is.
absolutely. Because then also in your expansion and understanding, you get more people who are in awe. And not that that's why you do it, but I think it just confirms and validates like, hey, I have information that people need and want.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you're not going to find that out if you're the best kept secret.
Right. And And by the way, this is why you have support in your business. When you're the webmaster, the Canva person, you're the newsletter editor, you're the, bookkeeper, then you're not doing what's the highest and best use of your time, which I believe is speaking, selling, serving, strategy for your business, and of course, self-care. And I really want, especially the women, to see that self-care is a priority for us to thrive in business and having support even in our personal life. It's time to, of course, hopefully everyone already has a housekeeper. It's time for everyone to have a housekeeper. It's time for everyone to get their groceries delivered. And the other thing is, moms, there's this person called the mommy's helper, right? Where she comes, she helps the mom do some stuff. You need a CEO helper. You need an on the ground assistant coming to help you. Even my on the ground assistant comes only one day a week Now, really, I'd like to have her for 3. I'm working on that. But my point is, there's never a shortage of stuff to do when you have your own business, and we need support so we can be with our clients.
Absolutely. And it can be done in so many different ways. And again, I hope I'm going to re-listen to this. This has got some great things. It's all so great to hear us. So I love Caterina's acronyms, right? So she talks about wearing your cape, CAPE. And so she's going to tell us what that means. Hopefully. I didn't ask her to.
No, okay, yeah. I love the cape. Okay, so here's the idea. The idea is that whenever you're speaking, you're wearing your cape. Now, all speaking is public speaking, okay? Even when you're talking to yourself, you're public speaking because you're listening. The C stands for certainty. Certainty that you have massive value to bring, which you do. The A is for authenticity. And this is really a place where I'd like people to really look like what doesn't feel right and doesn't feel good to you that you're doing, because you're probably doing it because you thought you were supposed to. Okay. So really your business is supposed to be your bliss, and you get to do it any way you want. Okay. I like to wear accessories, and it makes me happy to have roses behind me and a nice fancy backdrop. That makes me happy. Okay. Then I get to do it that way. You get to do it any way you want because it's your business. So that's certain. Because the other thing, Brenda, is when people they're doing it the way they're supposed to, we might like them, vibe with them, but we know there's something off. And so then we don't move forward to work with them. Certainty, authenticity. The P is for positivity. We don't want any depresso peeps in our life, right? And the A is certainty, authenticity, positivity. And the E is for enthusiasm. This is the energy behind your certainty, your authenticity, and your positivity. And you want to bring it, you want to bring a little extra when you're doing Zoom. We have to hold everybody's attention. You want to bring extra when you're having a conversation with a potential client, some extra vitality, because you know what? Certainty, authenticity, positivity, enthusiasm, these qualities are alluring. Okay. They are alluring. People are, oh, who's that confident person, right? They're attractive to our potential clients. And I encourage everyone to pick one of these to start with, to shine the spotlight, to upgrade, because we can all have more confidence, right? More certainty. We can all look at how to be more authentic. We can all be more positive and, of course, add a little extra energy and vitality.
Absolutely. And the big thing is, and I often say this, it's not just getting support in your business, but also getting support for yourself.
Right.
Right? And whatever that looks like, if that's taking things off your plate, or, I have people who just keep me, on account, that type thing, on retainer, because they need support as far as their beliefs, their traumas, their non-forgiveness. I mean, these are what hold people back. And it's also what kind of prevents people from being their true authentic self, is because of that still thing of like how I think I'm supposed to be type deal, or what so-and-so said, instead of just, I'll never forget, a year and a half ago, I did like a free webinar series. I wanted to do a beta group. I wanted to see how it worked. And my business coach at the time was like, you can't put down all these stipulations on something that you're offering for free, Brenda. You want people to come. And I'm like, no, if this is like a 16-week commitment, yeah, I'm going to have some rules, even though it's free. I don't want it taken lightly. And she was like, I don't know. We need to look at your metrics, right? We need to look at your numbers, I had an 87% show up rate.
That's awesome.
For like 3 or 4 weeks. And she's looking at me going, and I'm like, I know, I'm really trying to, I'm really attempting, right? I know I use the word, but it's really my intention for it to be like over 90. And she's looking at me going, okay, do you know what the industry average is on a free webinar? that lasts an hour? And I went, no. And she goes, Brenda, it's 10%. She goes, how are you doing 87%? And this is me and my ignorance, right? Like, I have no idea. I've never done anything like this before, but I trusted, like, I always say yes to my coaches. Let me just tell you that. But if something just doesn't exactly sit right with me, and that was probably one of the first times I ever said no. And it actually worked out in my favor. And she just looked at me and she goes, like, your numbers don't lie. So,
Right.
you apparently, and she's like, why are people showing up every week? And I'm like, because they're getting value.
Right.
They're
Right.
getting changes. They're getting, and again, I feel like at times what some people do, and I think we see some really big names do this, is you only give a little bit of information, right?
Yeah.
To
And
like,
that's right. That's how a lot of the people teach, and that's what they teach you. And, doesn't it feel yucky when that happens? You give your VIP time, you show up, you're ready to take some notes, and you get almost nothing. And I feel that that is not the way to be in business. I feel that I do have a lifetime supply. You've got a lifetime supply. I teach my clients to bring their lifetime supply because we're here to be of service. So if somebody, when I say here on the planet, right? So if somebody doesn't ever decide to work with us, Brenda, but they come to our free thing, like with you, we still want to give them massive value, right? And so I'm so 100% with you. And again, that's about values. Okay. That's about values. I'm going to give massive value regardless of whether or not you choose to be my client. Now, I can't give you a lot of my one-on-one time. Okay. But in a group format, and then you have a question, I'm not going to say, well, I answer that in my $10,000 course. So when you sign up for that, you'll get the answer, right? That's not an attitude of service. And generosity looks good on everybody. And the more, and that's a value by which I run my business. And that is something that people want to pay attention to because generosity looks good on all of us in our business. And don't be stingy with your massive value. It's like Jesus with the loaves and the fishes. There's an endless supply.
absolutely. And again, here's, like behind the curtain, what that also does as well is it helps some people realize, like, I don't think I can do this by myself, right?
Right,
Just because
right,
having information doesn't mean we can implement,
right,
right? But
right,
so again, we kind of need, you will have your people that will take it and run with it. And good, they weren't your client anyways, they weren't, and then you'll have people that'll be like, wait a minute. And I think that Caterina said something that was really important. I can give information to a group. I can give
right,
information when I'm talking. I can answer a question
right,
then.
right,
But one-on-one, this is not a one-on-one deal. And that's
right,
what my clients, my
right,
paying clients get. So I
right,
think that people need to hear that. We're not telling you to give everything away for free and constantly be at a beck and call or available 24/7 to answer questions. There's a time and a place, and you do it then.
right. And I mean, I believe like I like to talk to people. I like to, but I don't, and I'm happy to give someone a few minutes here or there. The truth is, and I upset somebody yesterday on Facebook because I've got 5,000 friends, and sometimes it goes to 54998 or whatever. But you know what? I got to always make room for my new clients, and so we have this nice message that says, we've got 5,000 friends. Connect with us here. Listen to our, and she was so offended, and some people don't realize like the more you shine your light, the more people want to connect with you and the less time you have. Okay. And so that's why I love groups, Brenda, because I get to bring my massive value and share it with a lot of people at once. I mean, if you're not in this place, you might not be aware, but when your business is thriving, this is why you have to build your team also, because the only thing I do all day is talk to my clients, talk to potential clients, speak, interview, teach classes. Like there's no time for all this ancillary conversations with whoever. And no, I don't even have space for you as my friend on Facebook because I have to save space for my VIP clients that I haven't met yet. It's important. People don't always realize that the bigger your light gets, the more people want to connect with you. And if you want that to be you and it's not, keep bringing your massive value. Don't be stingy with it.
There you go. So we know that you speak and you also lead retreats.
Yeah, not lately, but yeah.
Right. We're saying,
Yeah, okay.
we're just saying, right? So is that something that you recommend, like business
Oh
owners?
yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. First of all, I love retreats. And if you I think I don't know about guys because I'm not an expert on guys. Women love retreats. Okay. Women love to get together. We love to share in community. We love to be in community. And when we have a retreat in our business, it's something that allows our more elite clients, or our clients that have been with us longer, or our clients that are kind of between periods of working with us. It allows them something to keep coming back for, to get reinvigorated, re-engaged. And Brenda, I talk about it as a sales fountain and not a funnel, because I want my clients to come in the bottom and just go round and round to all the excitement. And then by the time they get back around, there's going to be new excitement. And they just keep going round and round. And so a retreat is a great way to build community, solidify relationships, give massive value. And it also, when we get people out of their normal environments, it is when another environment, especially if it's beautiful, an aesthetic environment, allows for more transformation and more breakthroughs. And especially if they have to turn off their phone and their computer.
Unplug, exactly.
Right.
Unplug, step back and be supportive,
Right.
and also be
Right.
giving opportunities to have breakthroughs, because whoever's leading it knows what they're doing.
Right. And that's why you always have some free time in there for all of that. And I've led retreats in Hawaii and a lot in Sonoma and Napa County near our home. But what I want to say is my favorite place to lead a retreat is on a cruise ship, because, and I know that cruise ships might have a bad name right now, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going in a few months. I'm taking some ladies in February. We're taking more ladies in April. And the reason for that is because they don't have to worry about where they're going to eat. And that takes a lot of time when you're traveling. Where are we going to eat? Blah, blah. And then also they are all stuck on the ship together, which means they're going to be more in community with each other. And it makes for a great environment to cultivate friendships, have breakthroughs, have time on your own, do fun things. And also, you can come up with a lot of great activities, as we do, that facilitate fun and transformation and breakthrough on a retreat. And Brenda, I'm all about breakthrough, but I'm not about the brutal breakthrough. I'm about, because my friend, we've been to those workshops, right, where they want you to have breakthrough and they're going to beat you over the head, not literally but emotionally, until you have a breakthrough. That's not my retreat, my friend. We do a lot of fun things that are supporting you in having a breakthrough in certain areas while having fun.
Well, and a breakthrough is an aha. A breakthrough is
Yeah.
like discovering a different, like, you know, uh, stream of income, like a revenue to
Well,
be able
yeah, that would be a breakthrough. That would be a breakthrough. And well,
anyways, you're right. We're not
right,
talking about, having that cathartic breakthrough. We're
no,
talking about breakthroughs that correlate to,
right.
saving time, and, increasing our team, making money, those types of things.
Yes, yes. And I'm also going for the transformation where they start to see themselves differently. They start to see themselves as more of a leader, more of a community builder, more of a successful entrepreneur. Sometimes like we were saying earlier, like sometimes we have this self-perception of ourselves from 10, 20, 30 years ago, and it's not the truth anymore. And so I want to help support these ladies and help them really see the amazing people that they are. And we do that with fascinators, and I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but lots of excitement.
That's right. This one you got to go to. You got to have the experience. There you go.
Well, if
Exactly.
you come to my work, I just scheduled in next quarter, I just scheduled some workshops on how to do workshops and retreats. And that thing I talk about a lot more, all the fun things we do.
Right. So there you go. Be on the lookout. Get on her mailing list. Yeah. Caterina does a lot as far as information that she gives and that type of thing. You just have to decide what you want to, do you want to hear about speaking? Do you want to hear about sales? Do you want to hear about retreats? You know, that type of thing. So yeah, definitely. And again, it's not like she is, you know, a jack of all trades and a master of none. She
No.
has, you know, there are a couple of different things and she's a master.
Yeah.
So
Speaking, selling, and doing retreats. And workshops.
that's her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
There you go. So I've been taking lots of notes, right? Because I'm just like, okay, this is what we're going to work on. Because again, I ask people to be the challenges, but then it really has to relate to our conversation typically.
Right.
Sometimes we don't even hit the headline that I put on. I mean, I'm being 100% transparent because it's always perfect. It is whatever it's intended to be, and it's always perfect. So you know, as I said with Theta Healing, a lot of times it allows us to have those transformations and those ahas quicker. It allows us to get out of our way. I often say that people put like my session into their programs so that their clients can have, you know, quicker breakthroughs, less resistance, and just more success with them. So it really just does allow that to happen for them. And so what we're going to do, right? I always make sure that we have the 3 basic beliefs in place that allow us to continue to do work as if this is your first time to watch us, right? Or I should say, watch me. Sure. For those of you who have seen Caterina before and are just joining me because you're just like, I can't get enough of her, you know, you know, Caterina. So, I want an instant healing. I deserve an instant healing, and instant healing is possible. Things happen instantaneously, quick, easy, painlessly, permanent with Theta Healing because we do it at a cellular level, and then your head and your heart can just follow. And it's beautiful, especially like with like imposter syndrome, where people are like, again, we're still seeing ourselves from 30 years ago. There's typically something traumatic that happened that kind of kept you there. And with Theta Healing, we can get to it. And then it just really allows you to step into your gift. So, but I getting ahead of myself here. So the 3 basic beliefs. So if you would like those, we just say yes out loud so that our brain, our universe, our divine power can all go, oh, okay, she wants, or he or she wants that. So Caterina, will you cue us in on those? Would y'all like those? Just say yes.
Yes.
And put it in the comments too. It kind of just adds to it. It really solidifies it. All right. And especially as we're looking into growing our business, upscaling, adding another component, you handle enough already. Make some changes that would allow you to step out of your comfort zone without it being terror or trauma, which is what Theta Healing can help you with. And so let me look at what else I got on my notes here, Caterina. So I loved when she said, act when willing, don't wait until you're ready. So let's go ahead and then of course have certainty, authenticity, positivity, and enthusiasm. I loved that acronym. And being of service. So what I'd like to do is to get us those divine definitions of act, willing, ready, certainty, authenticity, positivity, enthusiasm, and service and servitude. Because I think that people end up, when you say be of service, people are like, oh, free, 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 free. I'm going to give away. And it's like, no, no, no. You can be of service and also make money. So we want to separate service from servitude. So if you'd like to get all of those definitions, which again are going to what they feel like, that it is possible, that it's safe, and how it serves us, just say yes. That's your cue, Caterina.
Yes.
All right. And then let's change what prevents us from acting when we're willing. And we're going to change what obligates us, which means we don't have a choice, to wait to act until we're ready. And let's change like what would obligate us to be in servitude versus service so that we can, get that off our backs. And then I'm going to do one other after that. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud and yes in the comments. That's your cue, Caterina.
Yes. I was ready for that one. Yes.
And we want to like forgive ourselves for not being willing. We want to forgive, maybe there were some other, players in the mix, so to speak. We want to forgive them, right? Because somehow they wouldn't have been in the mix if we hadn't on some level agreed to have them in the mix, so to speak. We also want to do that. And then what I want to do is go to that time, if you can recall it. And if you can't, we can still do it. But there's a reason why public speaking is traumatic for people. Like Caterina said, was it when I was, 5 and made a presentation in kindergarten? Or was it when I had to get up in front of the church and sing a solo or whatever that is, right? That somehow something happened and it wasn't that great and it's kind of always been there. So we want to go ahead and with theta healing, we always say when there's a trauma, there are free floating memories and we just kind of carry them around. They become a magnet. So we attract more situations like that, or we project that they'll be like that. And we just want to be able to get the gifts and lessons and let the attachment go so that it can be different. So whatever that event was, is if you have one in mind, and if you don't, it's just going to be that event that prevents you from, being a public speaker. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud.
Yes.
And I always get so excited in these and I kind of miss the boat a little bit. Like this, share it, tag people. Here we are at the end and I'm finally saying this, and just that reminder, who needed to hear this, who needed that word, and then give us some comments as well. What was the big aha that you got from Caterina? What was the work, or how did this feel to you? Let us know, comment it, share it, tag it. We always appreciate that. And again, always 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. And I want you to be able to know how to get a hold of Caterina. Like, what are you offering next?
Well, tomorrow I'm having my Set Yourself Up to Thrive at Sales workshop. It is 10 to 1 Pacific time, a little bit later in other states. And it is regularly $47. I'll give my special code CAT27. CAT27. Anyone can come for only $27. It's 3 hours that will catapult your selling, catapult your business. Massive, massive value. A great workshop if you want more clients, if you want to set yourself up for more clients, really if you want more ease and bliss in your business, because it's all about how to do it authentically. We dispel a lot of the myths around selling that really don't work for a lot of creative, heart-based people. Then
I'll put that information in the comments, guys, so that you can.
thank you, my friend. Awesome. And then of course I have, if you go to caterina.com/gift, you can get 3, I believe there's 3 gifts in there. One is a recording on selling with authenticity. And please join my Facebook group, Thriving Women in Business group. Would love to have you there. We have a lot of great ladies there. And I would love to, anybody feel free to send me a message. And Brenda, the other thing that I'm believing that you know that we do is that every 2 weeks we send out an e-zine with many, many events for women in business. And if you are not on that list, send me your email and I will put you on that list, because those are events mostly now virtual, happening all over the country. And many of them are free for you to expand your personal and professional development. And the other thing, Brenda, is I operate my business with an attitude of uplift. I run my workshops and my events with an attitude of uplift. And it is about continuing our learning, but it's also about showing up in places where you're going to get an emotional boost. Like for those watching right now, right? You get an emotional boost when you show up and you be with someone who has massive value to bring. And I do, Brenda, you do, everybody who's listening does. And that's the experience that you're going to have when you come and be with me.
And I'm going to say, yes, that is the experience that you're going to have when you come be with Caterina. And what you'll get for this special price of $27, you'll be like, man, you could charge so much more for this. And I am so glad I got such a deal. So if you like deals, and
It is
getting
a super
the
deal.
most for your money type thing, this is definitely an event to attend, because I have, and it's and again, people know I have a sales background,
Oh,
but I'm always open to learning
right,
something.
of course.
And sometimes we forget things. So
Right,
it's an
right.
amazing reminder, like I'm like, oh yeah, because again, we kind of get into that like autopilot. And sometimes we need somebody to go, oh yeah, pay attention, be intentional with this, type thing. And it's really, really, so again, even if you think like you're the best seller, best salesperson on earth type thing, I actually think what makes a great salesperson is somebody who's constantly willing to learn.
Exactly, because there's always another level of mastery, people, there's the adage, you speak what you teach what you need to learn. And I actually think that that is poppycock, that we actually teach what we seek to master. And having been speaking and selling for many years, I see that there's always another level of mastery. And that's what I want to make sure, we're never done. As long as we're above ground, we want to keep pursuing our area, our thing, our wheelhouse, because there is more mastery. There's all these nuances with speaking, with selling, with being of service, running a business. There's all these places where we can be more masterful. And that's why, Brenda, I love, we always have a coach. Okay. There's not a person who is super successful that doesn't have a coach. Everybody, we've all got coaches, and we've got coaches in different areas. And right now is a great time for people to have more support in their life. I'm being with a counselor every week this season. Why? Because I'm living in a pandemic like everybody else. Plus, some people know that my ex-husband passed away in January. And the fact that he was ex doesn't necessarily make it less of a loss. It makes it in some ways even more stressful. So, get everybody, I want everybody to recognize that successful people have a lot of support, and that this idea of I got to do it myself, is really, it is a very antiquated and unhelpful way to run our life. And I want, even Brenda, and I know, I'm sure you would agree with this, even the coaches that I felt like that was not a good investment, I still learned a lot from them, because I learned what not to do. And I learn a lot from watching people and watching, okay, they did this, and how does that impact me as a participant? And how would I do that? We learn a lot. The best investment we can ever make is in ourselves. Even if it's where you learn what not to do, it's still a great investment.
Preach. I mean, exactly. And that's the thing, again, when I heard this the first time, when I first was like, started this juncture of my business, and I heard somebody say, I always have a coach. I was like, they just want me to, pay them to be my coach. But then I realized, like, as I was growing, as I was up leveling, like, it happens because I have the expertise and the accountability.
Right.
At this
Exactly.
point, I've vetted them like
Right.
I have a coach and I have a strategist. It took me 4 months to find them. Like, I started that like last fall
Right.
on
Right.
that, you know, had an idea of what I wanted, had an idea of how I wanted them to be,
Right. Okay. So Brenda, you're making me think of, so, there's four kinds of clients. There's the Insta client, there's the slow cooker. So my friend, you're a slow cooker. And then because you want to do the research, you want to check everything out. That's great. And then there's the super slow cooker who takes up to a year, and the super, super slow cooker that takes more than a year. And I just want to mention this because sometimes we get discouraged that we don't get Insta clients. And, somebody like Brenda, who is very much, they're making an important decision and really want to do what's the right match for them, that they're going to take a little time before making that decision. And that's important for us to recognize, because then when someone like you, Brenda, who takes a little time to make sure it's right, then when they get started with us, bing bing, it's a love connection, right? And that's what we want, and that's why
And
it's
they're
so important.
committed. And they're
Right.
committed, they're
Right.
committed
Right.
to the deal because they've done,
Right.
I will say again, I know we're going to have to get off soon, but I had my very first client that I was thinking of, or my coach that I was considering, and she had sent me, and my intuition just kept having me stall a little bit. I was like, what is going on? So I took like 24 hours once I got the contract, and then all of a sudden I was like at an event, and I came back and I had an email saying, well, since you couldn't make a decision right away, um, you know, the offer's off the table. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like and I was at an event that I met somebody who I felt like it was a stronger
Awesome.
deal, and I went
Awesome.
with them. Like, my decision was
Right.
made, and I made a very quick decision with them
Right.
because I had figured out, and I was just
Right.
like, oh, that is interesting, that
Right.
that happened. So again,
And
she
it's
showed, and then like a year later, I ran into her and she's like chasing me, and I'm like, oh no, you had your choice with me. You had
right.
your choice with me, and
Right.
you did was not okay. Like, I would never do that to somebody. I would meet them where they're at and go, what's going on? How can
Right.
I do
Let's
this?
talk about it. Right. Let's talk about it. And Brenda, this is again, this is the idea of win-lose, or the idea of having to be right also, right? And it's better to be in relationship than to be right, and to think that we're perfect, that everything we said is the right thing. And none of that is selling with authenticity and ease. Our business is supposed to be our bliss. And to me, one of the things that means is that there's nobody that gets anywhere near my business that stresses me on a regular basis. Okay. And I bet that coach would have stressed you. And you know what? Life's too short, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't want a coach that challenges you. My coach
But I
challenged.
got coaches that challenged me on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And this is how you have expansion. But again, the values are the same. So I know where she's coming from. Right. And that's what is so important.
So I know we've got to hop off. So first off, I want to thank Miss Caterina, and we will get her information. And I think she gave us some extra stuff. So I'm going to have to get that from you, Caterina, so we can put it in the comments.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then also too, same time, same place next week, I will be having Stephanie Schuller, and we'll be talking about the 3 changes to make to be your best boss.
That's
And
exciting.
by the way, I do have a virtual Theta Healing certification program that is going on. It'll be starting November 6th. So if that's something that you want to know about, contact me. But I also have my contact information, join my group. And I also have a free meditation that's just 1 minute. And all of the links are in the post. So how to get a hold of me and everything else. So Caterina, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, Brenda, for having me. And I want to make sure everyone that's listening, don't just say, these are some nice ideas. please take action based on our time together, because there's a lifetime supply of people to serve, and it's your job to get busy to serve them even more.
Call to action. Thank you, Caterina.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody, until next week. Thank you.